The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zyxthar of the Vrelnian Empire made her announcement. Her crystalline form shimmered under the dome lights, refracting colors that signaled her species' equivalent of smugness. "The treaty is simple," she declared, her voice resonating through universal translators. "To ensure lasting peace between our empire and the human colony of New Terra, we propose a union marriage. One of our finest warriors will bond with a human representative." Maggie Chun, New Terra's diplomatic envoy, sat rigid in her hover seat. At 28, she'd negotiated trade agreements, territorial disputes, and resource allocations. But this was medieval. "With all due respect," Maggie said carefully, "humans don't typically arrange marriages for political. The alternative is continued economic sanctions." Zyxthar interrupted. "Your colony world needs our antimatter refineries. We need assurance that humans will remain compliant." The word hung in the air like a threat. Maggie's jaw tightened. New Terra was young, barely 3 generations old. They couldn't survive another year of isolation. She thought of the children in the agricultural domes, the elderly in the medical centers running low on supplies. "I'll do it," a voice said from behind her. Maggie turned to see Ephraim Torres standing in the observer section. He was the colony's chief engineer, a quiet man with calloused hands and thoughtful brown eyes. They'd worked together on the water reclamation project last year. He'd barely said 10 words to her the entire time. "Ephraim, you don't have to. I do," he said simply, stepping forward. "If it saves lives, I do." The wedding ceremony was a cold, bureaucratic affair. Ephraim stood beside Zarathix, a towering Vrelnian warrior whose chitinous armor gleamed like polished obsidian. She was beautiful in an alien way, deadly and precise. Her people were conquerors, and this marriage was meant to symbolize humanity's submission. Maggie watched from the front row, her hands clenched in her lap. Ephraim caught her eye once during the ceremony and gave her a small, reassuring nod. "He's too kind for this," she thought. "Too gentle." She was wrong. The first month passed quietly. Ephraim moved to the Vrelnian embassy ship orbiting New Terra. Reports filtered back that he was adjusting, learning Vrelnian customs, even beginning to understand their clicking language. Then came the incident that a Vrelnian patrol vessel intercepted a human supply ship in neutral space. The commander, ignoring treaty protocols, seized the cargo and detained the crew. When Maggie protested to the council, Zyxthar dismissed her concerns. "A minor misunderstanding," the ambassador said with a shimmer of disinterest. That night, Ephraim appeared in the council chamber unannounced. Zarathix stood beside him, but something in her posture had changed. She looked nervous. "Release the crew," Ephraim said quietly. "Return the supplies." Zyxthar's form darkened with anger. "You forget your place, human. You are here as a symbol, nothing more." "No," Ephraim replied, his voice still soft but carrying a weight that made the entire chamber lean forward. "I'm here as a husband to one of your warriors. And I've learned something interesting about Vrelnian culture these past weeks." He stepped forward, and Maggie noticed something she'd missed before. The subtle patterns now etched into his forearms, Vrelnian marriage marks that bonded him legally to their warrior caste. "Your people value strength above all else," Ephraim continued. "And according to your own laws, a bonded mate shares their partner's rank and privileges. Zarathix is a battle prime, which means I have the authority to challenge decisions made by lower-ranked officials." Zyxthar's form flickered uncertainly. "That law applies only to Vrelnians. The treaty language says bonded partners," Ephraim interrupted, pulling up a holographic display. "No species qualifier. Your own legal scholars confirmed it." I checked. Maggie's eyes widened. He'd been studying, not just language and customs, but law, infrastructure, power structures. Furthermore, Ephraim said, his engineer's mind working through the problem like a complex equation, "I've spent the last month analyzing your antimatter refineries. Your entire economy depends on them, and they're running at 63% efficiency due to cascade resonance in the containment fields." He waved his hand, and another hologram appeared. Detailed schematics that made several Vrelnian technicians in the chamber lean forward with interest. "I've designed a fix," Ephraim said. "It'll boost efficiency to 92%. That's a 46% increase in output. Imagine what your empire could do with that much additional antimatter. The chamber erupted in clicking, chittering debate. HFY Stars forms cycled through several colors. What do you want, human? She finally asked. That Ephraim's expression didn't change. Equal partnership. Real treaty terms, not this subjugation disguised as peace. Release our people. Open fair trade. And treat New Terra as an ally, not a colony to be managed. And if we refuse? Now Ephraim smiled, and it wasn't a gentle expression. Then I keep my refinery improvements to myself. And I share with the council some other observations I've made about the structural vulnerabilities in your embassy ships, the weaknesses in your military communication protocols, the fact that your warrior caste is deeply honorable, but your diplomatic core. He glanced at ZYXthar. Less so. Maggie realized she was holding her breath. Ephraim had walked into the heart of their power structure and found not submission, but leverage. He'd married into their system and learned to use it better than they did. Zarathix stepped forward, placing a clawed hand on Ephraim's shoulder, a gesture of solidarity. My mate speaks wisdom, she said, her voice carrying the authority of a battle prime. The ambassador oversteps. I support his challenge. Other Vrelnian warriors in the chamber began clicking their agreement. The warrior caste respected strength and intelligence, and Ephraim had demonstrated both without firing a single shot. Lexdar's form went pale, almost translucent. She'd been outmaneuvered. The crew will be released, she said stiffly. Treaty negotiations will resume, on equal terms. Later, in New Terra's government center, Maggie found Ephraim standing by the window, watching the Vrelnian embassy ship in orbit. That was incredible, she said as he shrugged. I just looked at the problem. Figured out what pieces were in play. You saved us. We saved ourselves, Ephraim corrected. That's what humans do. We adapt. We learn. We find solutions even when we're outgunned and outmaneuvered. They thought marriage would make us weak. Instead, he smiled softly. It gave us a door into their world. Maggie laughed, the tension of months finally breaking. They have no idea what they've done, do they? No, Ephraim agreed. They think strength is only about weapons and warships. They don't understand that human power is different. We build. We connect. We turn every disadvantage into an opportunity. Through the window, more human ships were approaching, supply vessels no longer afraid of being seized, trade ships bearing goods for fair exchange. The blockade was over. The Vrelnian Empire had tried to cage humanity with a marriage contract. Instead, they'd given humanity the keys to their entire civilization. And Ephraim Torres, a quiet engineer who just wanted to help people, had proven something the galaxy would soon learn. Underestimating humans wasn't just a mistake. That IT was the beginning of their own transformation.